Episode number 127. Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut, because ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine Esbrand. Are you eager to get unstuck and figure out what you would actually like to do with your career next? Have you been going around in circles trying to figure it out but getting no further forward? If so, you're going to love today's sponsor, my signature group program, the Career Clarity Academy. Changing career direction can feel overwhelming and daunting, but it doesn't have to be. In my signature program, we give you clear, step-by-step, proven processes for getting completely clear on what it is that you want to do and understanding how you can leverage your existing experience and position yourself to attract and land a dream role. To find out more, head over to lightboxcoaching.com/academy. I wanted to talk to you about something briefly because I was having a conversation with somebody earlier and a few things came up and I wanted to kind of jump on before I go and do the school run and talk to you about it quickly this afternoon. So if you're someone who has been considering making a career change for some time, you have probably got to the place where you've already identified the reasons why you want to make a career change. So you've identified what your frustrations are, you've identified why you feel like you need to make the move. You've identified what about your current role or current situation isn't really working for you right now. So you know what the frustrations are, you know what it is that you want to move away from. But then when it comes time for you to actually take action, there's an issue because you feel stuck and then you start to procrastinate and say, I will do something later, I will make moves later. And the question is, what is it that you're waiting for? Because if you've taken the time to really think through and identify what is not working for you, then clearly it's not working. So there's something else out there for you in terms of being able to work in a way that you are excited about, or doing work that you're passionate about, or making sure that you don't feel undervalued. There's things that you have identified that are wrong in your current role, which means that you know what the alternative is. However, when it comes to taking action, there's a disconnect. So in terms of that procrastination, it might be that you know that you need to start diving deep and really thinking about, like, what is it that I can bring to the table, or what else I could actually do? What else is there out there that is aligned with the skills and expertise that I have? Maybe you know that you have to do that work, but you're not doing it. Or maybe you need to ask yourself some tough questions about what am I actually believing, or what am I actually telling myself about what is or isn't possible for me. Or maybe you know that you need to hire a career coach or join a program that's going to help you to go step by step through the process and accelerate your results. Maybe you know what it is that you need to do in order to move forward, but you're not doing it. So you might be saying, I don't know what to do. But when you really dig into it, you do know what to do. You do, but you're just not taking that action and moving forward. And so if that is you, if you have been saying for a while that you need to make a change, you need to make a move, but you're not doing it, I want you to really reflect on what is it that is actually holding you back. Because if you know what action you need to take, but you're not taking the action, if you're procrastinating, then that is costing you the opportunity to be able to move into work that you absolutely love and to be doing work and spending your time in a way that's well spent, right? And it's likely that the issue that's sitting behind the procrastination is fear. It's fear of the unknown. It's fear of putting yourself out there and potentially being rejected. It's fear of how things are going to change. Because if you step out and you put yourself forward for a transition where you're going to be moving from what you're comfortable with into something different, into something new, if you're going to be transitioning, whether that is, not necessarily a huge transition, maybe it's just you working in your same industry but in a different way, it's still a change for you. So it's not just about, I'm going to start a new role. It means that there's going to be an identity shift. How you identified yourself before in terms of your occupation, it might be different going forward. So are you ready for that identity shift? Are you ready for or the way it's going to impact your family dynamic, the way it's going to impact the way that you do things. Maybe you're not fully ready for that. And so the fear that you're feeling is the fear of change and the fear of actually stepping into being the type of person that you're saying you want to be. Because if you're saying, you know, I want an advancement in my career, I want to be recognized for what I do, I want to be valued for the contribution that I bring, I want to make an impact in the world. If you're saying those things and you're not currently doing those things, then that means that a transition is required in order for you to get there. A change in your identity is required in order for you to get there. And so when you're not taking action, sometimes it's fear of like, if I actually do this, am I actually ready for all that is going to come if I step out and if I step into what it is I'm saying I want to do? And so that could be the thing. That could be the thing that is actually holding you back. And it could be that, you know, you just don't want to, you don't want to put yourself out there because you're fearing that you will get rejected. You don't want to make those applications in case they say no. You don't want to put yourself out there. But sometimes the fear that we have is not actually based on fact. Sometimes the fear that we have is based on assumptions. When you're saying, oh, you know, I'm not going to put myself out there because they're going to reject me, or I'm at a certain stage in my professional career and there's other graduates that are just coming into the space that I want to move into, and those are the people that are going to get hired over me, or you need to be a certain type of person in order to be successful in this role. Sometimes those statements that we're saying to ourselves are not actually based on fact. They're based on our own assumptions. So when you actually look at it and you ask yourself, do I have any evidence to support what I'm saying? Do I have any evidence to support it? The likelihood is no, because if you haven't taken any action yet, that means you haven't put yourself out there, and that means you haven't had any responses, and that means that you don't yet know. You don't yet know. And so you're assuming something's going to happen based on the fear that you have and not necessarily on what's actually going on. And so when you realize that a lot of your fear is based on assumptions, it's easier for you to challenge that and say, well, do I know that to be true? Well, no, I don't. So then what can I do differently? How can I be approaching things differently? Okay, the acronyms come back to me. Fear, false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real, that acronym. And that really goes to what I'm speaking about the assumptions. That false evidence is really you just making up stuff like in your mind about what is happening. And it's partly because you want to keep yourself safe and partly because you just want to stay in the comfort zone. So on the one hand, you want to stay in the comfort zone, but on the other hand, you want to experience something different. On the other hand, you want life to look different. So you have to really reconcile that and say, well, where am I going to sit on that spectrum? Am I going to stick with the fear, or am I going to push past the fear and outside of my comfort zone so I can experience the type of career and the type of impact and the type of work that I absolutely want to be doing? So when we talk about what is the cost of your procrastination, on an emotional level, it comes down to you feeling frustrated. It comes down to you having low confidence, or you feeling like an imposter, or you feeling undervalued. Like these are things that you might be feeling in your current role because your role is not very well aligned with you as a person and you're frustrated about that. Those are things that could be happening right now. So if you don't take any action, then that's where you're going to stay. And the other thing is when it comes to what you could be potentially doing in terms of the impact that you could be making in your career, and then ultimately like the remuneration you could be getting. So if you're someone who's showing up to work every day and you're not fully invested in what it is that you're doing, you're not fully enjoying what it is that you're doing, the likelihood is you're not going to be operating at the top of your game. You're not going to be fulfilling your potential fully. And if you're not going all out and fully showing up and fully bringing the value that you have the potential to bring to a role and to an organization, then it's going to be hard for you to demand the type of pay rise or the type of remuneration that you really could be getting. Versus if you move into a role where you're flowing in what it is that you're doing and you're great at what you do, and the way that you show up is a way that is clearly demonstrating value to the organization and to the role that you're in, it's so much easier for you to demand more money. It's so much easier for you to negotiate a higher remuneration package because you will be showing up in a way where you're demonstrating, yes, this is what I deserve. This is what I love to do. Your passion is going to come across and you're going to really enjoy the work that you're doing, make an impact in that work. And so you can ask to be paid accordingly. All right, I'm going to hop off now and I will speak to you very, very soon. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Career Changemaker podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love for you to let me know what your biggest takeaway has been. So head over to Instagram, tag me at Career Changemaker, and let me know your thoughts. What did you like most about today's episode? I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, keep working towards your career goals, and we will speak very, very soon.